Hello and welcome back to Friday Minis. Now on this show from time to time we take trips back down to history. Today we're going to take a look at Teletext. Now this is a technology that is old and in fact completely unused in certain countries. So in a nutshell, here's what it is. Now if you're watching analog TV, what you can do is you can switch on this Teletext mode, and essentially what it has are a whole bunch of pages that you can browse through. And well, it just shows up text information. It contains things like news and whatever else your broadcaster deems appropriate. So the technology that goes into making Teletext work is actually pretty interesting. You see, back then when they actually broadcasted an analog signal, essentially what you'll have is this thing called the vertical blanking interval, or VBI. Here's the idea. When you're watching TV, basically what you're seeing is frame after frame after frame of individual still images. And the way your broadcasting station actually broadcasts this is they go by scan lines. So you can imagine an image being described sequentially. We start off with the first line, then we move on to the second line, and so on. This is obviously a very simplified way of explaining this, but the key thing I want you to understand is the fact that images are described line by line. Back in the days of cathode ray tube TVs, essentially what's happening is, well, you actually have this ray gun that is drawing line by line, and when it's done scanning a frame, what it has to do is it has to sort of jump back. This takes a small amount of time, but this is enough for the broadcaster to actually have to insert a gap between each subsequent frame. So essentially what is being broadcasted is a frame, a small gap, and then the next frame. And this little gap is called the vertical blanking interval. During this time, your TV is still receiving the signal, but it's not drawing something on screen. So this is a place where you can actually embed some information without disrupting the image. And that is where Teletext is actually carried. So really, even after all this talk, we've only looked at one thing about Teletext, and I've actually already run out of time. So yeah, just to wrap things up, you can actually think of Teletext as a one-way internet. This information is being broadcasted by your broadcaster, and well, everybody receives a copy of the same information. So it's like the internet, except you cannot send data back. All you can do is you can actually just browse for that information by selecting a different page. You specify which page you want to look at by entering a number, and because the VBI is small, you're gonna have to wait for a certain amount of time before the page you want comes along. And when it does, well, you get to download the page and you get to see its contents. So yeah, that's basically Teletext in a nutshell. Now there is a lot more to say about this, but hopefully this will give you a rough enough overview of the subject at hand. Anyway, that wraps it up for this episode of Friday Minis. Hope you learned something today, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV. Hello, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, remember that I appreciate every like, favorite, and comment you give me. If you'd like to see more from me in the future, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. And for more updates outside of YouTube, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at 0612TV. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.